Hey everyone. So on this article, listen, I got to just say first and foremost before I actually get into this article is, listen, when it comes to this whole environmental issue, one thing I will say, especially if you're going to have a conversation regarding it with anyone that you care about, please be wise and prudent and don't be, ridiculous in your approach. Like I say, whether you're someone that identifies on the right or the left, just please be reasonable in your approach, especially when you're talking about people that are younger, because this kind of stuff is very disturbing to me. There's a lot of psychological and emotional manipulation happening out there, folks, and it's bad enough when you're doing it to adults, but when you're turning and pivot to children, to me that's one area that it causes me to be quite concerned and outraged, to be honest with you, folks. I don't like seeing people messing with or manipulating the minds of children. That is something that really sticks in my craw, and I got to tell you, I'm not happy even reading this stuff. I'm not happy about how the media or the ruling class or your so-called thought leaders or even people that are your culture leaders, like late night talk show hosts or people that are celebrities. I'm not happy how most adults are handling this situation. And why? Because they're all proven to be a bunch of ideologues who are unthinking and unquestioning in regards to their ideological stance and are willing to double down on their kind of insanity while bringing kids along scared, shaken, and fearful for their future. I mean, this is basically akin to child abuse on a global scale. And if you're an adult, you got to do better than that. Headline out of CBC News under the health section, eco-anxiety spurs youth to take action on climate change. It makes me feel a lot better. I feel like I'm taking a step forward, one young activist says. It's being reported by Marcy Cutler, September 21st, 2019. So eco-anxiety, like you're getting all these kids to have anxiety or panic attacks. Like, what's wrong with you adults? Why is wrong with you? And that Greta Thunberg? Yeah, I'm not. And it's not like I say, Maxime. Well, first of all the people that say, oh, Maxime attacked. Maxime wasn't trying to attack her. How that tweet come out? Was it the best way to tweet it? No, but that's the thing. People pounced on Maxime for basically, listen, what he was alluding to is she's being used as a pawn. And that's a reality. No right-winger brought Greta Thunberg to the limelight or to the spotlight. No, it was her parents, it was the leftists, it was the environmentalists, these alarmists that put her in or shoved her out in the spotlight or at the forefront of this very divisive political battle. To me, I mean, at least place the blame. I mean, there's lots of blame that you can spread all around, but come on, at the very least, place at least a large, substantial portion of that blame on the people that brought her to the forefront and who are using her as a shield to push out or put forth their ideologically driven narrative. And yes, it's very much ideologically driven. And if you don't believe so, just go talk to one of these environmental alarmists. Just have a conversation with them just one time and then come back to me and tell me they're not ideologically driven or even possessed, as some of them seem to be. These people are very much cult leaders and cult followers. That's the thing with cults, right? These people are all about using your psychology and manipulating your mind as a means to their end. Make no mistake about that. This story is part of a CBC News series titled In Our Backyard, which looks at the effects climate change is having in Canada, from extreme weather events to how it's reshaping our economy. Extreme weather events. I mean, if you live in Canada on either side, there's nothing extreme happening. I mean, there's a few things that have happened. Hey, weather has happened. Some forest fires has happened. Nothing. Just go look through the facts and the statistics yourself. Don't even just go by what I say or what any hack in the media say. Like I say, take that personal responsibility and learn some of this stuff for yourself, because that's really the only way you're going to be properly educated and informed, is taking that personal responsibility of getting information from all different areas. Emma Lim, 18, announced this week that she's not going to have children until governments take serious action on climate change. The movement she launched spurred thousands more across Canada to make a similar promise called the No Future Pledge. So they're saying they don't want to have kids, right? No, we're not going to have kids because of this environmental alarmism. Yet, why are we bringing in to the tune of what? 1 million immigrants, just the legal ones, over a short time frame like 3 years in this country? Why? Because we need to fill up the tax base. We got to get more people paying in the taxes, right? To sustain all these socialist programs that have been implemented in Canada over decades. So you need a lot of people to come to this country to be consumers, prop up the GDP and all that, right? So, I mean, that already is just such insane circular logic or ridiculous logic that, like I say, I mean, you're saying the environment, we got to worry about the environment, but yet you want to bring in millions of people into the first world that has, you say that Canada has one of the places that has the largest footprints, right? Because it's a Western developed world. Well, then what, if you're against, increasing the carbon footprint of humans, well, bringing them to the first world where they can have the biggest carbon footprint. I mean, how insane is that, right? I mean, sheer fact that now you have people that are actually Canadians, they're saying, no, we're not going to have any kids. So once again, they're destroying their own future and their own ability to have like children themselves. I mean, children, there's a lot of great things that come with having children, not just by sheer fact that they continue or carry on your bloodline, or that you have a family or someone to take care of you and your aging or elderly years. I mean, those things are important alone, or to have the love of family, like all these beautiful things. But even, like I say, even if you strip all those things out of it and you just take into account, well, hey, if you need people to take care of the old people in this country, which is why basically one of the main excuses, one of the drivers, why the leftists are always saying, or even some of these right-winger corporate dipshits are saying, we got to bring them in here. They got to be workers, or they got to, fill up the tax coffers so that the government can continue to spend on these programs. Whatever excuse they're using, like I say, counterintuitive logic or contradictory logic is what you're seeing here once again. No wonder that kids have such anxiety. I mean, I'm a full-grown adult, and I'm feeling a little bit anxious about this kind of insane, contradictory messaging that I'm hearing on a regular and continued basis by people that are supposed to be your thought leaders or opinion makers out there. They're failing far too many people far too often, which is why, like I say, you got to get out from underneath of just listening to these people, folks. If you want to be sane in any way, yes, seek out alternative sources, at the very least, to counter this stuff, because that's the only thing that's going to help you. Because if you fall into this stuff, or if you get caught in this trap of going along with their ideologically driven narrative or their insanity, which is actually a complete contradiction to logic, because there's nothing logical about anything like that they're saying, like I say. Then, like I say, if you repeat or regurgitate that stuff to your children, yes, you are the one that's a guilty party that's perpetuating this kind of anxiety on the young people in this country. And not only are you causing anxiety, but you're causing a whole lot of personal and social harm as well. My generation is facing a future of economic instability, food scarcity, extreme weather events, and we, the children, are desperate, the McGill University student said in a news conference in Ottawa on Monday. Lim and other young people around the world are trying to get their voices heard. Led by the actions of 16-year-old climate activist Greta Thunberg, thousands took to the streets on Friday with demonstrations across the globe. A precursor to the UN Youth Climate Summit started in New York on Saturday. With fires, floods, and pollution growing faster and more serious every year, children and young people are scared that they'll be bearing the brunt of this crisis. It's spawning a condition called eco-anxiety, a fear of environmental catastrophe. And while it's not officially recognized as a medical diagnosis, some experts say it's a real phenomenon. Anyways, folks, I'll place a link to this article in the description of the video below. But anyway, I mean, what more needs to be said? I would say, though, I'm always the kind of guy that says definitely read the rest of the article so you get all the information. Like I say, I'm not trying to leave anything out, but just for time purposes, because I know people don't like my videos to go too long, and so for time-sensitive purposes, I'm going to just place a link to this article in the description of the video below. But as you know, I cover enough to show this is what they're pumping up. This anxiety, like, that's a bad thing for kids, right? And I mean, if that's the thing too, no matter which side you come at, let's say that the alarm is real. Well, what does it do to be anxious or cause them to be? I mean, if you know there's a threat, what good are you if there is a direct threat imminent to you? Let's say that this is real and, there is a direct threat imminent to these young people. What good does it do to get them all anxious or scared out of their minds? Matter of fact, those people in that kind of hyper-sensitive state aren't people that make good decisions, to be honest with you, right? When can you say that you've made the best decisions in your life? Well, it sure as shit wasn't when you were super anxious, stressed out, or suffering bouts of depression, or living in a heightened state of fear. That's just not how it works, folks. You know darn well. You don't want people living in a heightened state of fear to be the ones that are making the decisions out there, or who are promoting those who are going to be the ultimate decision makers. That's the problem, folks. And so no, it has nothing to do with trying to insult the young people. I feel sorry for the young people, which is why I do videos such as this, so that young people will watch this and realize, no, you don't have to be scared. Listen, this stuff has been done many times in the past. I know you're young folks. Listen, you don't realize, but yeah, people that want to push an agenda or a narrative, yes, they love using fear and division. I mean, it works. I mean, let's just recognize that first and foremost, that is a tactic that actually works. So if you're a young person watching this video, please, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be concerned at all with the environment. Of course, I'm concerned. I have 2 children myself. Well, they're not children. They're full-grown men now, but I have 2 sons myself, and I care about their future. And when they have their children, I'm going to care about my grandkids' future as well. So it's not that I'm saying don't care about the environment anyway. I care about the environment a lot. I'm just saying, don't allow these manipulators to mess with your emotions to the point where you're suffering from this kind of anxiety that, like I say, at some point in time, as you get older, you realize that, yeah, you were duped and people caused a lot of psychological and emotional harm to you needlessly. That's all I'm saying at the end of the day. Be wise, be wary. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.